So, hi everybody. So we're going to do something completely different for our next project. Somebody's been waiting for this picture for a long time, and I just thought, I've just checked with them to see if it's okay to do it for a project, and they said, yeah, that's okay. They're okay with that. So we're going to do, as you can probably see, we're going to do a people portrait, but a group, a family group. So, and we're going to do it with a few, very few pencils, a little soft brush, a little rubber, and my putty rubber, a little bit of chamois, and a different paper stump for each colour pencil or charcoal that I'm using. I don't mix them up. Now, you know I don't like paper stumps, but we can't do this without paper stumps. To make their skins nice and smooth, we just can't do it. The chamois is wonderful for making their skin really smooth, and that's what we use for the baby, especially the baby. And so really, I'll put everything down in the details that you need, but we're going to use an HB General's charcoal pencil for the really dark areas, an F graphite or just an ordinary pencil, F, any make is fine. And then we've got another General's charcoal but white, and I've chosen white charcoal to use rather than a white pastel because it just comes out better on this paper. It just gives the effect that I was looking for on this paper. A little soft brush, which is actually a little makeup brush rather than a paintbrush. It's nice and soft. And a little tiny little rubber, which are called TOMBO, I think. I've got one this size, and I've got one that's kind of long, which is great for whiskers actually. We won't be needing whiskers on this though, will we? So they're both very, very good little rubbers. So that's all we're going to be using, that's it. The chamois is a special artist chamois, which is very, very soft. And I think it's a Derwent one. It comes in a little packet. You don't wash it because it will go hard. So you just take it straight out of the packet and use it. Just got to be careful that if you've been using it for charcoal, then you don't use that charcoal area over the pencil. The other thing I've done is, I'll just put all those down for a sec. The other thing I did was, because I wanted this to be a pencil portrait primarily, I tried out all the different pencils, which work probably really, really well on white paper, white drawing paper. Now I have done pencil portraits on white drawing paper, and I've used all of these fine, no problem. But as you can see, these are all a bit on the shiny side, and actually when I've used them on this paper, they have come out a bit shiny, which is why I've gone to the trouble of getting an F pencil, which, you know, you can buy them singly. I don't think I've ever used an F pencil before, but it's between a B and an HB, so it's got some softness, but not too much. So it doesn't actually go shiny. So this is what I've done. I've tried them all out, and then I've just put a little tick by what combines well together, whether the charcoal goes over a base of pencil, which is actually always quite a good idea, really, for delicate areas, because you can always get it off again after that. But charcoal is pretty easy to get off compared to white. Compared to black pastel. Black pastel is hard to get off, really hard. You wouldn't get it off this paper. So the black charcoal is very, very good. It's, you know, it's not like using the vine charcoal. That's extremely easy to get off. The pencils are a little more difficult to get off. So if they go over the pencil, you've got a chance of getting it off really quite well. And I just wanted to see what combined, what would adhere to the pencil underneath. So the pencil underneath is the F pencil, which I'll be using for the skin, especially for the baby's skin. Now, what I did with this picture was I replaced the baby's face because she wasn't looking very happy in this particular picture that her mum and dad wanted. They wanted this picture of them two, but the baby wasn't looking very happy. So what I did was I replaced her face with a happier face from a different picture, but it was taken at the same group of photos, so the light is exactly the same. they're all facing this way, away from the light, which makes it quite a tricky picture to do. But there is a bit of light in the picture up here, you know, that we can use, and it's partly why I did their teeth white, to bring a bit of brightness into the picture because they're facing away from the light. But we've got a bit of light coming through here, you see, which I'll make a bit stronger, and we've got light coming through on his hair round here, which you probably can't really see. There's a little bit of light on his forehead there too. So it's actually not a great picture that we're copying from, but I wanted to show you that with pencils you can kind of get away with it, because we can't get a lot of detail in at this size anyway. And this is a good size to do a group portrait actually, because it's not going to be too big on the wall. It's going to look nice with a 2-inch amount around it, and it'll be a nice, kind of nice size to put up on the wall. It'll be about that kind of thing. If you go bigger, you can get a lot more detail in, but this picture wasn't detailed enough to do that. So if you go even smaller, then it's more difficult to get really, really good lightness in, because the lines have to be exact, especially around a person's eyes and teeth. It's got to be pretty exact. So this is quite a good size to go for, which is just printed out on A4 paper, really. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'll put all the details of everything we're going to use in the details on every video, so you've got everything there. So we won't need a lot for this picture at all, really. I'll put a copy of the picture in so that you can print it out and download it and print it out. So we'll be working through the same thing, but again, the editing is really important on this. I printed out another copy to start off with. As you can see, the pictures differ a lot. This I like very much, but there wasn't enough definition going on in lightness and darkness. This is far too dark. You know, look, the baby's face it's hardly got any light coming in there at all. But it does give you an idea of where the lightest areas are. The darker you go in the print, you can see where the lightest areas need to be through here. When you're shading in the face, there is a light area there. There's a couple of light areas on the baby's face, and a bit lightness here. A lightness on his cheeks there and here. That is the sun mark. We'll just ignore that entirely. That's a bit lighter there. And you've got some nice light coming in here from the side, from the sun, and over their backs. It's coming right behind them, see? But we'll get that in. So yeah, we'll just go from there. So the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as we go along to practice on before I actually do the actual picture. Because it's been so long since I did any pencil work, I've had to remind myself how to do this. And I thought, well, this would be a really good learning thing for us both, for me as well as you, to practice on this first. And if I make mistakes, I'll show you how to get rid of them. Or if I can't get rid of them, just show you, well, don't do that. And then we'll go to the actual picture that we're going to be drawing, and we'll get it right on the actual picture. And it might be a good idea for you to do that actually for yourself. Practice tracing on, because the tracing on needs to be exact. It really needs to be good. Otherwise they're never going to look like the people. So if you want your group, your family group of your own picture to do, print your own picture out if you'd like to. But whenever we trace it on, it's got to be exact. And I really mean that, otherwise it won't work. It will not look like the people. It's got to be one line out, but it's a challenge for us all. It's a big challenge doing a people portrait, it is. But I'm going to show you the easy way, so that's why we're tracing it on, and it's a lot easier than drawing it on and getting it exact. It's a lot easier and quicker, but you need to be vigilant about how you trace it on. But I'll go through that. I will trace it on a bit on video and show you exactly how I'm doing it again. I've shown you with the animals, and it's just as important with animals to get those lines in the right places when you're tracing on. Absolutely just important. So, but I will do it a bit, and then you can download my free PDF on how to trace on your picture, because it's much more detailed, and there's a video that goes with it as well. So you've got the PDF to download, which I'll put in the details for this one, and then a video that goes along with how to trace your subject onto your paper that you're working on. You have to press a bit harder with this paper to get the marks to come out. It's nothing like PASTELMAT that takes a very light pressure. So this needs a harder touch when you're tracing on, real firm, and you'll see when we just test it as we go along, just to see how firm it needs to be, and you get a feel for it yourself anyway. Okay, so that's it. That's it. Let's get ready. I'm really looking forward to doing this with you, actually. Really am. I miss doing people. I love doing people. And I haven't done, like I say, for a year. So let's get cracking. Let's get cracking. Okay, see you in the next video. Right, so here we are back at the picture. I just want to show you how I would set it all up for tracing on. So this is our CANFORD card under here. These are little practice areas that I've done with the white charcoal and the black charcoal, and I've got pencil under here actually, a bit of charcoal, bit of darker charcoal under there. I've tested that out just to make sure I've got the right side of the paper, because what happens is with this paper you've got a little bit of a coarser side, which is very suitable for certain people's faces you want to do actually. So this is really good paper for doing portraits on. This is the smoother side that I've used, and the only way you can really test it out is to do this on each side of the paper and just have a smooth of it and just see what's going to suit whatever you're drawing best. So you can just decide when you pick your reference photo. So what I do is first of all I place the picture onto the card, and you can't see the underneath of the card because this is covering over the edge of it. But I've just placed the paper, the picture right in the middle of the paper, because I'll probably use the edges of this at some point to try things out on. The mount is going to be going right up here, so it's going to go right up to the edge of this paper. It's an A4 size mount. So, and then we'll do a 2-inch mount on it there. So it'll be this, kind of this wide, that deep when it's finished. It's a good size for a picture, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video and get in a bit closer so you can actually see. So we place this on the paper exactly where we want it to come out. Then underneath you take the TRACEDOWN paper underneath. I'm using dark for this because I think it'll just suit the picture better. Okay, so we've got zoom right in. Now I'm just getting really level with this. I've just zoomed in on her eye so that I can really show you how carefully I trace this on, and a little bit of her nose. So we're just going to go for the darkest areas really that we can see. We don't want to be doing strong marks under our eye here, but definitely we've got a strong mark there. Now before you go any further, just check, how's that come out? Very, very slight. You won't see that at all. I can barely see it. So try not to press on the paper too much. Obviously you have to lean on it. Try and get that mark in again. Press a little bit harder. Now I can see it. But it's very slight, very, very slight, and I'm pressing quite hard. These marks don't indent the paper either. It's hard, it's quite tough. So that's why it's especially good. And then rather than do a line here, I'm just going to kind of do lines like I would, you know, like an eyebrow. So you're just doing little marks rather than a line under her eyebrow there. and then it kind of ends about here. So just put a little mark there. Yeah, it's barely showing, so I'm going to press a little bit harder to make sure that I can see everything. We can put that top line mark in. That's a little bit higher. I can see these pencil marks that I'm using here because they're shiny. You won't see this at all, but you can see how carefully that I'm with the actual pencil lead, how closely I'm going to follow these lines. So then we've got a little line up there, and I'm going to do the bottom of that line. So remembering when I come to draw it, it is the bottom, and if I forget where I put that line, I'm going to have this here that I can refer to the whole time. We'll keep this, and we'll be looking at that all the time, just to see where we put our marks. Again, I'm going to put it at the bottom. Even though it's not very thick, that line, I'm still going to aim for the bottom of it. There, it's coming out nicely now. I hope you can see that, but the important thing is that you're just seeing how carefully I'm tracing this on. So that's fine, I can see that fine. Just need to put a couple of little marks in there. Then we'll do her eyelid. Now we've got a quite strong line here. That really is going to be important, that line. It's not straight across, it's slightly up. And then this line here, it's not straight down, it's slightly going over. Just checking every mark at this point because they're very important, our eyes. The eyes and the nose and the mouth. You've got to really make sure you get those right. Now there's quite a thick line above her eyes because she's a girl and they usually do have thicker lines. She might have mascara on, I don't know. But anyway, it's quite a thick line, so make sure that you get that line in. And then there's a very thin line here. And you probably won't be able to see this, but this is why I want to describe it really. You've got a very thin line, and then you've got like a little squared off bit there, and then the line, the bottom eyelid, the inside of the bottom eyelid is starting. Now this is going to be quite a fine line, so you don't really need to press as hard here because it's a softer line. There, it's quite dark, so you can get that a bit darker, and then just do this bit here a bit darker, and then straight up into her eye. So we're going right over the dark, inside of the dark edge. We're not going to go on the outside of it. This is pretty vital. It's inside the black area. If you did it on the outside, her eye would be massively too big. At this scale, it would be far too big. And that's the other side of a dark eye there. Just make sure that's in. Just make sure at this point everything is in properly. That could be a bit stronger there. That's going to be dark in that corner there. And then you see you've got another line just underneath it here, which, that's the little square bit there. That's dark in there. Make sure you get that in there. I'm showing you here with the hope that you can actually see this. Then you've got the darker, got a darker line. It's coming across here like that, and it's a very much more of a softer line. It's not a straight line. It's kind of more broken up, and there's a bit of shading here underneath our eyelid. But we're not going to put that in. We'll put that in with the pencil and the blending stump. Then you've got a little bit of dark shadow there. Just mark that area, just so that you know where to start with the shading. That's come out nice and strong there. And then you've got a line, quite a thick line, so you can kind of go over this, colour over that line. It's bitty again, it's not a straight line, it's bitty. So just do little bits, just to mark it out. And it meets up, it does meet up, it's actually going up to that corner. That's fine. It's very slight, but I can see it. I can see it well enough for what I need to do with it. And then we have then another line coming here. It's a thinner line. Now this is important, getting this angle here right, just there. It's not straight. That angle will give her that real characteristic of her eye, smiling eye. It's all that area around the eye that gives the expression. So this is why you need to get that right, really. This is why, you know, if she's smiling, you need to be able to show that. There's a little mark going down there. Let's just check that, see how that's going. Yeah, we've got the important lines in there. We've got that line under her eye at the right angle. Then we've got a little bit of shading here, so we can kind of just mark that in. Just that's the end of it. That can be a bit lighter. And then there's a little bit of shading here. Could put that in just lightly, just to give you an outline. And then this, I've learned from my mistakes here with noses, you've got to get them exactly right, otherwise you'll be on them for ages trying to rectify a line. Even when you've drawn it on from scratch and you think, oh yeah, you've measured it all, it can still go wrong. I don't want to put you off, because if you take care with this bit, you'll get a really good result. I really don't want to put you off, I want to encourage you. Now she's got a nose stud. I'm not going to draw that in. We can do that easily enough. We'll measure with this line here, and we'll measure with this line here. And what I did was, when I did my practice, I measured on her teeth. So I measured straight down here, and that nose stud comes literally on the edge of the top of that tooth there. That's how I measure things, just like that really. And there is a line coming here on her nose. It's kind of coming at that angle. And then the shading is all inside just here, but we can do that with a paper stump. And then this line here is also extremely important. So be careful, don't go over the dark area onto the light area of her cheek. Just keep that, just put a line. Again, make sure the angle's right. Just check it. Can't see that at all because I was pressing really gently there, because we're going to need to blend this very, very gently. Yeah, that's better. And then it's kind of a little bit rounded here. It's not a straight line, so just pop that in there. It's kind of a little bit broken up. That's it, that's better. There. Notice I haven't bothered to put her pupil in. We can do that easy enough. We don't need to, their eyes are so dark, and you know, we'll add a bit of light into them, I think, but we can easily see where her pupils are. Then this line here is important. It's kind of coming straight down. Make sure it's not too long. And then we've got another line coming just like that. Just make that a bit stronger. See, I'm pressing really hard now. Yeah, see, It's quite tough, this CANFORD card. Then, now, under her nose, we're going to be going on the dark area, not on the light edge of her nose. It's underneath, so we're actually drawing underneath that line of her nose. There's quite a good line there. And then we've got this line coming across here. There's a little kind of glitch on the end there, but I think it's just the light. So leave that out anyway, don't go over it. So I've literally done that. I've left that little glitch out there. In case when we come to it we want to include it, and we won't have to worry about where to place it. Again, under the edge of this nose here. So you're on the dark area, and you're on the dark area here. And there's a nice strong area that we can get in there. That's lovely. Don't worry if the nose looks like that. They always do. Until you get the shading in, they always look a bit bulbous and not right. So if you expect that, it's not so bad when you actually take a look at it. Now, I don't know if you can see her other eye now with the focus, so I'm going to do her mouth. I think you can see that. Now again, just be really careful here. Just follow the line. Just do it in little bits. It's much easier that way. Just do it in little bits. Try and get the thickness of her lip in, which isn't very thick because she's smiling, so it's really not very thick at all. Just try and get that top line in. Don't worry about all the teeth just yet. Just concentrate on this. Then there's a lovely dark line there. And we can get the edge of that tooth in there. We're going around the tooth because all these marks are going to be dark. So we're going around the tooth. Teeth need really careful, really careful handling. Got to be very, very careful with these. So this is a good reason to not to make your picture too dark, because you won't be able to see what you're tracing on properly here. But you want it dark enough to give the picture a good interest. You know, you need dark and shade to get, because we haven't got light, we haven't got the light. We've got light here and we've got light up here. I don't know if you can see that now. So just working your way around the teeth, get close up, have a really good look at this. Then just check to make sure you're getting it all in. That's fine. See, there's quite a big thick bit there because it's quite dark. Then we can do around the teeth up here. Everybody's teeth are incredibly characteristic. If you get these wrong, it won't look like them. And at this point, yes, put the lines in, because these lines are going to be your guide. You're not going to be going over them again with a pencil. Probably not. These are your tooth lines, and because you can rub these out easy enough if you need to. What doesn't look good is if you've got strong lines between each tooth. But with this, these are your guide. So don't go on the teeth, you're going right around them. Then any really dark lines around the teeth, pop them in, just colour them over. There we've got the other line here. That's a bit thicker, this line. Now I can see there's a little line here, that's dark into the corner. Then there's a little, I'm just going to go on the top of that. I think the tooth goes up here a little bit, but it's hard to see. So I'm just going around that white area there. And I can see something here. It's very dark. Okay, let's have a look at that. Okay, so teeth at this point look big, but they won't when we get everything coloured in. That'll be fine. Now, here, we're not going to go on that white at all. We're just going to go beside it, as close to it as you can get. Those are the lovely light bits that we will get in. And I'm going to put this line in here because it's a very dark area there. We can use that. It's a good marker. Slightly rounded there. And then I'm just going to look at the real photo. I've got it down here. See what's going on here? Yeah. Yeah, it kind of meets up. This bit here, this is actually the bottom of her mouth. And this dark area there is kind of meeting up in the shadow. So you can refer to your best copy if you're not sure about anything. And again, I'm only going on the black areas here, the very dark areas, because we're going to get in the edge of her lips. Now there's a dark area there. I'm just going to have a quick look at that. Yeah, that is her lip there. So her lip is coming down here. These lips are never a strong line. So obviously we need to get the marker in, but they're never a strong line there. Don't want to be strong. So we're going to carry on doing these, round these, just round there. Then we've got quite a thin line coming through there, just like a slither of light. That's dark there. Now, this is just underneath the lightest part of her chin. So that's a dark area there that I'm going over. It's not actually on her chin, it's just under it. I know I keep on about this, but it's so easy to just think, oh yeah, that's her chin, I'll do that. But you've got to go under on the dark area so that when you come to draw, you know there's a dark area there. You could just go over that there. It looks bigger in the picture, but it's not really that big because it's the baby's arm here. We've got the baby's arm. And we're going to do that chin like that. That's the baby's dress. There's a nice little white bit there that we can go around to give us a guide there.